The three of us are keen photographers, and in the last few years we've developed an interest in taking pictures with pinhole cameras, which seems to me to be growing in popularity. I think it was an Arab astronomer who first discovered the concept of a pinhole camera around about the 10th century, but it wasn't until 1850 that a photograph was made using a light-proof box with a pinhole at one end instead of a lens, and a light-sensitive plate at the other. Today we're using just modern film, mostly black and white, but sometimes colour, and of course you can make your own pinhole camera just using a shoebox. The images produced by a pinhole are in focus right from close up to the camera to the horizon, although they are slightly softer than a traditional photograph. Very little light enters the camera through the tiny pinhole, so exposures tend to be long, with the interesting result that moving objects can take on a ghost-like appearance on the negative. This type of camera doesn't have a viewfinder to look through, but we found that we can usually rely on the camera's extreme wide angle of view to cover most subjects adequately. Well, I suppose we feel that the automation that's crept in over the last 20 or 30 years, especially with the advent of digital, has made photography a bit too easy and maybe predictable. With a modern camera you rarely have to think very much about the technique involved, but with pinhole the equipment is so basic that we have to think a lot more about the technique before capturing an image, and for us that's definitely one of the most satisfying things about it. Overall, what we like most about pinhole photography is it gives a different perspective on everyday reality. It distorts the features close to the camera and it blurs objects which are moving during the time of the exposure. And perhaps it can trigger stronger emotions than those felt when looking at an ordinary photograph. For us, using a pinhole camera has taught us so much more about photography, and we definitely feel we're moving forwards in artistic development. Some would say moving backwards technologically. But perhaps the most surprising thing for us has been that taking photographs through such a tiny hole has enabled us to see the world in a totally different way.